Hey guys, this is Locke. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how we got the damage formula wrong. This is specifically about the damage reduction. There are two things that we got wrong about it. The first thing is that we assumed that damage reduction was additive. It is not. It's multiplicative. And the second thing was that we assumed that there was a 50% damage reduction cap, which is also false because I've been able to get it down even lower than that. So I don't want to just say these statements. I want to prove it. So we're going to let Iana get damaged by this guy and look at the difference in damage, how much damage he takes. So I'm going to stand by, and when I get to her turn, so she currently doesn't, as you can see, she doesn't have any damage reduction effects, but I do have the talent that reduces physical damage that she takes by 16%. I'm going to park her right here. And before he hits her, I will talk about what we are expecting to see. So this guy, once he casts this skill, his attack goes up to 5,100, and his skill attack will do 140% damage. So the way that the attack minus defense works is that, so it'll be 5,100 attack minus her defense, which is 637. So that equals to 4,463. We multiply that by 1.4 because it's a 140% is the amount of damage he will do. And then we reduce it by 16% because she only has a 16% damage reduction right now. So the answer we're expecting to see is 5,248. So we will take a look to see that, that's what happens. Make sure that she doesn't guard. And let's see, 5,249. So I was off by one, but that's basically exactly what we expected to see. Now, if this was actually multiplicative, like we had assumed, and I had been assuming all along, maybe that's my fault. I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the sources correctly. But what we're doing now is we're adding another 20% damage reduction to Iana. So if the damage reduction was multiplicated, that means, she had 16% reduction. We add another, not multiplicative, additive. She had 16% damage reduction before. We're adding another 20%, so she should have 36% damage reduction. So based on the exact same formula we calculated before, with 36% reduction, she should be taking 3,999 damage. But as you can see, that is not what happens. I want to put her at the exact same position I had before. Was it here? Maybe it was one lower, but I mean, it shouldn't matter. So she should be taking 3,999 damage, but you will see that she takes more. She takes 4,264. So how does that happen? Well, so this is what I mean by damage is multiplicative, not additive. So what happened was that she actually took 16% less damage, and then whatever damage she had left over, she took 20% less of that. Okay, so we'll go over it one more time. So here she is. She has that 20% damage reduction, right? I'm gonna move her here. I think this is where I had her last time, right? So I'm gonna leave her there. I'm going to move this guy over here and take a look. So so again, attack 5,100 minus 637, and then we have to basically do so so it's basically 5,249 is the damage that she took last time, right? So you have to multiply that by 0.8 because that is the that is the new damage that she will take. So she will take 20% less because she has damage reduction 2, right? So this is not additive, this is multiplicative. So she takes, there you go, like 4,198. That's what I said, 4,000. So this is so the difference between the two damage is exactly 20%, right? So I mean, it's a little bit of math involved, but to give you a very outrageous example, suppose you had a character with four different buffs that did 20% damage reduction each, right? So if you add them all up, this person will have an 80% damage reduction. That's additive, and that's not what's happening. You're not additive. Additive is a lot stronger than multiplicative. Instead, what you're getting is you have a character that's taking 20% less damage, so 80%, and then the next layer of 20% reduction will take off another 20% of the 80%. So you're left with 64. So basically, at the end of it all, after these four layers, you still take 41% damage. If it's additive, you only take 20%, but because it's multiplicative, you take 41% damage. So it's a huge difference, right? And I haven't really seen anybody talking about this before. I assumed it was additive, and well, it's not. It's multiplicative. So it's a lot weaker than I thought. And so that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to show you that the first assumption that we had, at least that I had, was wrong. Um, it is not additive, it's multiplicative. And the second assumption that I talked about was that there was a cap of 50% damage reduction in total that you can take, and I found that to not be true. So let's take a look at this guy. So he has a lot of damage reduction already. He has 20% from this, from the Hermit. He has 30% from the Gear skill. Physical damage taken decreases by 30%. He has an additional 15% taken from the Resonance. He has a trait skill when he has more than 3 buffs. He takes an additional less 15%, right? If you add all of these up, I mean, it's not additive, but assuming it is additive, and another example, right? If you add all of this up, he takes 20% less here. He takes another 15, 30, so it's 30, 45, 55, 65, and then you add the other 15 here, so that's 80% less damage reduction, right? So, so I'm going to do another test with just him right now, just to so he has, it says that he has 80% less damage reduction. I have to actually pass all these turns because I want to show you something. Because I wanted to make sure that he has 3 buffs. Okay. So if the assumption before was correct, if the assumption, which I know is already wrong, but I want to just prove it, if the assumption is that, okay, so he has 80% damage reduction right now, which is, say it's capped at 50, what was the second assumption? He should not be taking any more damage when he uses his skill, because he's already at max, like he's already at 80% damage, whatever that is, right? 80%, 50%. So whether or not I use the invulnerable skill, he will be taking the same amount of damage. So let's try that out. So we're going to leave him here, and we can see, these are the stats. By the way, like I realized I forgot to show that after he attacks, this guy's attack does go up to 5,100. Maybe I will do that after this attack. But you can see here, so the damage that this Papal Guard takes is 1,992. Okay, and by the way, this is, where did he go? The attack 5,100 that I want to talk about. Now we will see now the damage that he takes with the invulnerable skill. If both the assumptions before were correct, he shouldn't actually be taking anything higher, because he already had, more than 50% damage reduction, and another 40% shouldn't really do anything, right? Let's take a look. So he took drastically lower. He took 1,100, and was it 16 or 12? I don't know. But like almost 50% less, right? So I mean, I'm hoping that already proves both the points that I wanted to make. The first point was that, so the 50% cap is wrong, like it doesn't exist. Like I actually calculated the 1,016 damage was actually only 18% of what this guy, like, attack minus defense, right? That number works out to be Give me a second. I wrote it down somewhere. Okay, so this guy has an attack of 5,100. Papal Guard has a defense of 1,211. So the difference in that multiplied by 40%, because that's the skill that he's using. If Papal Guard had 0 damage reduction, he would actually take 5,444 damage. But he took 1,016 damage. So that difference is like more than 80% of the damage is being negated, right? So you can have more than 50% damage reduction. And second thing I wanted to know is that this is multiplicative. This is not additive. It's not. If it was additive, if I add up all the sources, he should be taking 1 damage, right? Because like you add all of those things up, it goes to over 100%. So he should only be taking 1 damage if this was additive. It is not additive. It's multiplicative. And there is no limit of 50% damage reduction. It goes more than that. I don't know what the cap is now. Maybe it's 10%, but I was able to get it down to 18. I don't know if I can get it down even more. But that's what I found. So I thought I would share that with you because this is actually, to me, this is interesting. I mean, I'm a math person anyway. I do a bit of math work. But it helps me to theory craft better and figure out what works better. Because if you have the wrong assumptions, you're actually making, worse decisions because you think it works one way and then you find out actually, no, it works this way. To me, it's really interesting because that's the kind of stuff that I want to know to be able to build my team better. So I hope, it helps you guys out too. And if there's anything wrong with my math, if there's something that I did which was incorrect, please correct me. If there's some, because I've never seen anybody talk about this before. So I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, maybe other people also noticed and they made videos and I just didn't see it. But yeah, if there is anything wrong with what I said, if any of the math is wrong, if any of, maybe there was like some buff that this guy did, or like he has something that I'm not accounting for, which by the way, I should go and show you the talent tree so that you know the 16% that I'm talking about. Talent. So this was the 16% that Iana produced. So for all Watcher allies, she takes 16% less physical damage. Now this does not apply to the Papal Guard. It only applies to Iana. So that's why she initially took less than 16% damage, and then after that, again, it was multiplicative, so 16% less and then 20% less. That's how you get to the 4,199 damage that she took. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. I hope this is interesting for you. Or I hope it at least helps you to build your teams better and figure out what stats to allocate to them. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.